You need to be prepared. There will be times where you will be blamed for their losses. Occasionally their wins, they'll cheer you on, but more often than not they're losing, so you'll get blamed for it. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, Behind the Lights with TK. So 30 years within hospitality, say the casino industry. One thing that I will tell you that catches some people by surprise. Now, in 2026, it's probably a bit different to when I started years ago. But when you're dealing with gamblers at a frontline level, whether you're a game machines attendant or a slot attendant or a dealer, croupier, whatever you want to call them, you're dealing with people who are spending their money. Now, regardless if somebody is aware and sort of spending whatever they decide to spend, losing is never a good feeling. Some people take it on the chin. Some people, more often than not, get a bit sensitive. Now, one of the reasons why I prefer the slot machine side versus table games is that table game customers are a bit more competitive. What do I mean by that is that when you're on a slot machine, you can play at your pace. The game will not move until you push a button. So you can be as quick as you want, or you can be as slow as you want. And then obviously the bets are you choose what you do at whatever pace you want. When it comes to table games, you could be, and I forget what the number is, you could be 5 people at a table or 6 people. Then it becomes the player versus the dealer. Even if it's roulette, blackjack, baccarat, whatever game you're playing. Then, especially from a blackjack perspective, then there is, depending where you're sitting on that table, you'll see players within themselves start blaming each other. Oh, you took my card. You should have asked for another card. You took my card. So then it can get quite bitter, depending on the outcome. So as a dealer, an attendant, or whatever your position is at a front line in a casino, you need to be prepared. There will be times where you will be blamed for their losses. Occasionally their wins, they'll cheer you on, but more often than not they're losing, so you'll get blamed for it. Now, the reality is everyone should treat everyone with respect. That's a given, that's just known. However, people losing will start to push the boundary of what is acceptable. They may berate the dealers, they may talk bad, they may accuse you of cheating, they may blame you. It's realistically, all you're doing is just pushing a card out. You're not really doing anything. Or you're spinning the ball on the roulette table. The game has a built-in probability and you're just there facilitating the outcome. However, people will blame you. Now, unless they're crossing that line, you can get your area managers, your supervisors involved, call security. There's all those things you can do, but at the end of the day, there is a balance of how much you can tolerate and how much you should tolerate. So no one should ever cross that line. If someone crosses that line, that button is pushed, they're out the door, don't hesitate. But if someone says, oh, you suck, I'm losing because you suck, you don't know how to deal, you don't know how to spin, you don't know what you're doing, you're cheating. If you want to survive in this industry, you got to let that sort of take it with a pinch of salt. Don't let it affect you. Don't let it bother you. Now, I've heard some extreme stories. Now, I've heard of stories. One story was a high roller whale in a VIP room. He was on a losing streak, and millions of dollars losing streak. And he kept telling the dealer, stop. He was blaming the dealer, saying, stop it. It's your fault I'm losing. You keep giving me bad cards on purpose. The reality is it's not. Now, within the VIP space, and again, I'm not condoning this, I'm just saying how it happens, the expectation of tolerance is even higher. However, this one time, and that's probably about 25 years ago, this one time there was a story where the guy was losing, as I said, millions of dollars on a weekend, and he kept blaming the dealer. And he had this little, I forget what they called it, this little pallet that's in the old style of baccarat, where the dealer, instead of reaching over the table, you'd use to scoop up the card from the other side. Anyway, so the patron kept losing, and he grabbed this pallet. He took it from the dealer. It was just sitting there on the table. He grabbed it and smacked him on the side of the face. Now, in any world, that is not acceptable. That is assault. It should never be tolerated. However, in another lifetime, in another generation, you'd be surprised how many people got away with things. So yes, the guy was asked to leave. Yes, the staff member was counseled for what had happened, but the customer stayed around. It was again, different time where things, depending on how much you spent, you could get away with things. So always be mindful, things can happen. Now, hopefully I'm making myself clear that be prepared for the worst, however, do not tolerate the worst, if that makes sense. Always bring it to someone's attention. There is an old mentality that money talks and shit walks. But in today's world, no. Money talks, but if you act like a shit, you will get called out in today's world. One of the funny things you can see at a frontline level as well, is depending on where you work and what area and what country and what state, there used to be these things back in the early 2000s. It used to be popular to run party pits. Party pits were fun, but hectic and chaotic at the same time. These were gambling areas within a casino that were designed and themed to attract the younger or the more vibrant audience, sort of like your 20-year-olds. The music would be louder, some of the dealers would be dressed up in costumes and all the rest of it. Those nights can be really fun, however, you're still doing a job, there's still compliance rules to follow. And so, you see all these wonderful staff dressed up as vampires or whatever the theme is of the night. But the customers, they can get really drunk and really rowdy. And it's really funny. You're watching these drunk guys always trying to hit on the dealers, or even the female patrons trying to hit on dealers. You got to remember that as much as it can be fun, you're still there. You're a licensed employee. You've got live cash in front of you or your chips in front of you. But there was this one time where a fight had broken out. Now, normally I would say fights are a bad thing, and yes, they always are. This is one of those stereotypicals where the guy, it looked like he'd been having a weekend away with his, I can't remember if it was a girlfriend or wife or something, but he wouldn't leave the table. It was just so funny. He kept betting, and then she kept nagging him. And the music was going on, everyone was dressed, and all of a sudden it turned into this fight, and she literally pulled the guy from the hair, pulled him back. And if you've ever seen a lot of the tables, these high stools, the guy was on his back in the crowded area with this woman, a 5-foot tiny little thing, and she was wailing on him. And if you can imagine someone wailing on a nightclub sort of attire, and let's just say it was quite funny, and probably depending on where you were positioned, you probably saw more than you needed to. But just to watch this guy get hammered by this little woman, it was quite funny. Not acceptable, obviously, to hit anyone, but the guy wouldn't listen. And that's what you'll get. You'll get that a lot. People just don't listen, and they push boundaries, or they push their luck, and sometimes they need to be reminded. Obviously, we can't do anything like that to them, but it was just fun to see someone, or this woman, take on her partner and teach him a lesson, I guess, in humility. But look, casino life is quite fun. I suppose what I'm trying to say with this video, what I'm trying to say is you need to be thick-skinned, be more tolerant, never let them cross the line, but at the same time, give them a bit of leeway, because you are taking their money. It is their choice, but you are taking their money, and they will get emotional. So have a little bit of empathy, not sympathy, because never sympathize. They chose to lose their money, but have some empathy on how they're feeling, and maybe not rush to push that button if it's not really needed. I've had my fair share, and I've told people off, and it comes with the territory. One of the things I did enjoy the most was I enjoyed confronting people, because there are a lot of people that you'll meet in this industry that are probably not as thick-skinned or know how to deal with a confrontational situation. So in my various roles, one of the key points that I took pleasure in is confronting customers who were dealing bad with a situation, and the staff member was getting belittled, and I would never tolerate it. Definitely some funny stories there as well. But as I tell these stories, I'm still trying to find my ground of structure. But if I ever say anything that you might be interested in, definitely leave a comment below if you want me to elaborate a bit more on a specific area, or if you have a differing view, I'm happy to talk that through. But so just remember, in this industry, you have to have a thick skin. All right, so I say so a lot. I need to cut that up. Alright guys, if you have any thoughts, let me know in the comments below, good, bad, or anything. But I will say peace, love, all that stuff. See you on the next video. Bye.